Well, welcome everyone. We gave a couple of minutes there for everyone to link in, so good to see you all. And thank you very much for giving up your time to be with us today. This is the first webinar to explain and review the proposals for the future of Huguenot House. We wanted to make it easy as possible for people to safely engage with us. So there are lots of different ways that people can engage, including online, phone and post, as well as today's webinar. So just some housekeeping before we begin. This session is being recorded and we'll put the recording on our website for people to rewatch later. Today we'll be presenting the options for Huguenot House for about 30 minutes and then we'll stop. We'll give you the opportunity to ask your questions for around 15 minutes or so. We'll try to keep to time. The project team will answer any questions at the end. And in addition to our panelists, which I'll introduce in a minute, some of our wider team are also here and can jump in to help answer anything more technical a bit later. So please feel free to ask questions throughout the webinar, and you can use the Q&A function at the bottom of your screen. These questions can be kept anonymous and other participants will not be able to see them. We'll try to answer as many questions as we can during the question and answer session. If we can't get to it, then we'll review all the questions after the session and put a regularly updated question and answer on the website. So if you want to ask questions about your personal circumstances, we understand that. Please book a one-to-one session with us. I've already had one of those this week. So please call or email us to arrange this. It's quite easy to do. So if we head to the next slide, I'll introduce you to the team that you'll meet over the course of the presentation. So these are the panelists. Myself, I'll be chairing today, and I'm Head of Operations at Corporate Property at Westminster. And we've got Claire Nangle, who's the Senior Client in Corporate Property. Hi there, Claire, from Westminster. And we've got Darren Essex, Senior Development Manager. Hello, Darren, from Westminster. And we've got Miles Lee, Lead Architect from Eyes and Morrison. Hi, Miles. Okay, so that's the project team. They'll all be presenting some of the slides in today's presentation. And now I'll hand over to Claire, who'll give you some background on our consultation.
Hello everybody, and just echoing Kevin's thanks for joining us here this afternoon, much appreciated. My name's Claire Nangle and I'm the Senior Client in the Corporate Property Department. Huguenot House is managed by the Corporate Property Department and is one of the investment properties that we manage. So corporate property is responsible for the building and implementing the decisions that the council makes about it. The council, as you know, has been consulting on various options for the building for some time, as this timeline on the screen shows. The latest consultation started in 2017 and included a number of consultation events. And since then, we've met with residents and collected and considered in depth the feedback from residents, members of the community and colleagues within the council. More recently, we've undertaken a detailed review of the previous options presented. Next slide, please. So today we're presenting you with the previous options which have been updated and a new redevelopment option. Because we did not conclude the previous consultation started in 2017, we cannot take any of the previous options off the table. We appreciate that this results in quite a lot of information to take in. And the documents that we've sent out, these webinars, the offer of one-to-one meetings, are all designed to ensure that residents are fully able to participate and comment on the various options. This latest round of consultation will mean that the consultation exercise started in 2017 can be concluded. And this concludes with the council agreeing a preferred way forward early next year. But please let me reassure you the council has not got a preferred way forward now. All the options are on the table, and we want to hear from you before we determine a preferred way forward. Next slide, please. So what has changed? Why have we updated the options? Essentially because a lot of key contextual aspects have changed. This includes changes to building regulations and changes to planning policies, but it also includes changes to council strategies such as the new City for All plan, which has some very ambitious environmental targets. We've also taken into account the social and economic changes, and particularly the impact of COVID and what that means for demand for office accommodation and other commercial uses in particular. Next slide, please. So in order to decide what the best option is, we've drawn up key priorities for Huguenot House, and they're listed on this slide. So quality homes that meet modern standards, and in particular space standards, and the ability to adapt homes in the future should that be required, should the need arise. Secondly, opportunity and employment. This is about long-term opportunities, but we also seek to deliver employment and training opportunities throughout the life of the project. Environmental sustainability, as I mentioned before, the Council City for All plan prioritises tackling the climate emergency, and in corporate property we're actively working to reduce the carbon footprint of all of our buildings. Preserving and enhancing the local community. We have assessed whether each option is of benefit to the existing community, whether it enables people to continue to enjoy the local area, and whether it enables and facilitates future growth. And finally, financial viability. It's worth repeating that Huguenot House is a council investment property. The income that we receive enables the council to support frontline service delivery. So it's important that the options deliver value for money and that they represent a good use of public money. So as the team runs through each of the options, they will outline how each of the options performs against these key priorities. The assessment priorities reflect previous feedback from residents, and in particular, the aim to preserve and enhance the local community. This is a lot to take in, so we've posted more detail about this on the website and in the consultation booklet. But again, please contact us if you would like us to phone you to go through the options on a one-to-one basis. We want to hear from you. I'm now going to hand back to Kevin to talk through the first of the three options. Thank you.
Okay, thanks very much, Claire. This option, maintenance, refers to a 30-year maintenance plan, and it's designed to keep the building up to standard. In the immediate term, this means repairing windows, the rendering and the roof. We'd also replace one of the lifts and the water tank. Over a longer period of time, we would repair the facade. We would also replace windows and the heating, electrical and fire alarm systems, as well as the second lift. Next slide. This option does involve charging leaseholders for the work, which we estimate may come to charges between £25,000 and £45,000. The next option is refurbishment. This means doing everything I've just described for maintenance, but also making more significant improvements over a shorter period of time. The refurbishment would include replacement of both lifts, a new roof, new windows and facade, new heating and electrical systems, and improvements to shared spaces. Leaseholders would also be able to opt in and pay for new kitchens and bathrooms if they wanted to. A lot of the limitations of refurbishment are the same as maintenance, in that the performance of the commercial spaces is not addressed properly, and the building would continue to be energy inefficient, although minor improvements could be achieved. That said, it would give us the opportunity to refurbish the offices to meet a more modern standard, and the works would create some jobs in the area for the short term. It would see the building improve for existing residents who could return after moving out for a short period to allow for the work to take place. Next slide, please. So this option is sale of the building, and in actual fact that's a fairly straightforward option. However, it's not in line with our usual practice as we try to retain and optimise all council assets. This is part of our commitment to achieving value for money for all our residents. We've also been advised that though this option is viable in the sense that we might make some money from the sale, we're unlikely to attract a lot of buyers given the current market and the condition of the building. Most importantly though, we have no way of knowing what a potential buyer might do with the building, which means we cannot really assess the impact on residents or measure this option accurately against our key priorities. I'll now hand over to Darren to run through the remaining refreshed options.
Thank you, Kevin. The next option is to convert the existing offices to homes. After we spoke with residents in 2017 and 2018, we were asked to explore an option where we kept the residential part of Huguenot House as it is and converted the offices into new homes. When we refreshed the options this year, we noted that the current regulations meant that we would need to ensure that the entire building, including the residential part, was modernised and brought into line with these new building regulations. Therefore, this option now includes refurbishment as described by Kevin previously. This option delivers 10 new homes, half of which would be affordable. It would also see the building improved for existing residents in the same way outlined by Kevin under the refurbishment option, with leaseholders charged for the maintenance part of the works in line with their lease. It should be noted that residents would need to move out due to the scope of the works, but could return to their homes after the works are completed. These works would create jobs in the construction sector, although the loss of office space would mean businesses located in the building would have to move. Keeping the building also limits the improvements that we can make to its energy efficiency. The next option. If I can have the next slide, please. Thank you. Next option is to retain and extend the existing building. This is otherwise known as the 2004 podium scheme. This option was proposed in 2004 as part of a planning application, and at the request of residents in 2017, it was added to this consultation. This would see the building partially redeveloped, with the podium and car park partially replaced to provide 14 new homes, half of which would be affordable. Again, we would need to refurbish the whole building as part of the planning conditions for partial redevelopment, and leaseholders would be charged for the maintenance part of the refurbishment in line with the terms of their leases. As a result, the current building would be improved for existing residents. Residents again would need to move out temporarily during the works, but would be able to return to their own homes after the works have been completed. Retaining the building limits what improvements we can make to its energy efficiency. Some construction jobs would be created by the work. I'll move on then to the redevelopment option as presented in 2017-2018, which is also known as 4A star. This option is very similar to when we presented it previously. It's been updated slightly to meet current policy changes. For example, half of the housing would now be affordable. It would deliver around 50 homes, a cinema, 75 car parking spaces, and 4 shops. Out of all the options, this provides the most new homes. These would all be bigger than those currently in the building and would have private balconies. They would also be adaptable for residents with disabilities and would meet all modern standards. We could also make a significant contribution to become carbon neutral through the improvements to the building, which would enhance its energy performance. All existing residents would have to move out during the redevelopment, and as part of this, resident leaseholders and secure tenants would both be supported to return to the building if they wanted to. Although this option does not fully address the underuse of the car park, it does deliver a new cinema and shops and will bring economic activity to the area. The construction, which would take about 2 years, would also create a large number of jobs and apprenticeships. I'll now hand over to Miles, who will talk you through the new option. Thank you.
Thank you, Darren. When the council began assessing the options and considering local feedback, they also undertook new market research, which took account of the changing social and economic context since 2018. Based on this research, they've asked us to design a new redevelopment option, which might be more appropriate for the area. The market research clearly indicated there was a demand for hotel and leisure, and there was less demand for offices and shops. This new option will deliver 24 new homes, of which 50% will be affordable, a hotel, a cinema, and a casino. Whilst this option won't deliver as many homes as there currently are on site, the council will support secure tenants and resident leaseholders who want to return to a new home on site. All the new homes will be bigger, they will meet modern space standards, they'll have private balconies, and they'll be fully adaptable for residents with disabilities. The commercial elements best meet the economic demands in the area and would therefore bring job opportunities. This is in fact the only option which addresses the underuse of the basement car park. The building will target the very highest in environmental standards, significantly reducing its carbon footprint, and this will also mean cheaper energy bills for residents. The construction programme, which we've estimated will be at least 3 years, will also generate jobs and apprenticeships for the local area. I'll now hand back to Kevin.
Okay, thank you very much, Miles. Just coming to next steps. The consultation runs at the moment until the 8th of January. And after that, we will review all the feedback that's received and take a decision to decide which option to proceed with. You can expect to hear from us early next year with a decision and more information on what happens next. Next slide, please. So this is the Q&A session, and I'm really pleased that a number of you have put some questions to us. So we're going to take 15 minutes or so to go through that. And as I said before, if we're unable to get to your question, do email us it to us at huguenothouse@westminster.gov.uk, and we'll endeavour to reply. We'll also collate all the questions together with the answers and put a frequently asked question document on our website so that your questions and the answers can be shared with everybody at Huguenot House. So let's start. And I guess I'm pleased that the first question I will be able to pick up. So the question is, why are you consulting now after all this time and when we are worried about the pandemic? And I certainly understand that concern and acknowledge that. Well, since 2018, we've taken time to step back and assess the proposed options, and in terms of getting the best options for the city. And regrettably, this process did take longer than expected for various reasons. In terms of the consultation, we decided that the consultation and were advised that that needed to continue and it could be extended with refreshed and new options. I think it's important for residents and all concerned to actually get a conclusion to the options and the future of Huguenot House, because we do appreciate that it is uncertain in terms of the period, and that uncertainty does cause concern. So that's why we're continuing with the consultation. Okay, the next question is, why are you refusing to meet in person with us? Well, I think there's a fairly simple answer to that. We're certainly in lockdown at the moment, and the government guidance is that we shouldn't be meeting in person at the present time, and certainly we will review and keep that under continual review, and that's for resident safety but also staff safety as well. The next question is, why did you decide to include a new option? And I'm going to ask Claire to come in and answer that. So Claire, why did you decide? Sorry,
yeah, there's a couple of reasons. Firstly, there was clear legal advice for us to do so, that we needed to do that. But also, I think even if we hadn't have had that, it's important to make sure that the new context since the beginning of the consultation in 2017 is reflected upon, and that we present the most up-to-date position in terms of options.
Great. Okay. Thank you, Claire. The next question is, how many options are there? Well, you will have received your booklet, and we highlight the 7 options, the 6 refreshed and the 1 new option. We do have the old options in the background where you can actually comment on those. They are still part of the consultation, but you can appreciate that we have refreshed those for the reasons that Claire outlined earlier. So there's 7 main options, and in the background are the existing 6 options. But you can access those all on the website and get more information on that. The next question is, most options require us to move. Would we be rehoused nearby? Well, each person's situation is different, and it also will be different in terms of which option is chosen. But yes is the answer to that question. For those that we do have an obligation to rehouse, we would try and keep you as close as possible to Huguenot House, appreciating that you would need to be close to your extended network of friends and family. So yes, we would try and do that. The next question is, will leaseholders need to pay anything towards these works? Again, the short answer is yes, depending actually on the option. So I guess it isn't yes, it's depending. So yes, contributions would be required for maintenance and refurbishment, and that has been estimated at between 25 and 45. But if a redevelopment option was chosen, then the costs would remain the same for you. Coming back, we said that we would give you the opportunity to return, and there would be various opportunities to purchase with various arrangements for a property coming back into the property. The next question, for each option, how long would we need to move out for? So if I could ask Darren to answer that question. Darren?
Thank you, Kevin. The time that residents occupiers would need to move out for depends greatly depending on which option is the preferred option. For example, maintenance wouldn't require residents to move out, and full redevelopment would be for the length of the redevelopment period. So once there is a preferred option, we will continue to consult with residents and other occupiers in order to minimise disruption and to keep that to, say, to a minimum for them.
Okay, thanks very much, Darren. So the next question is, what's the difference between maintenance and refurbishment? So as I outlined, the main difference is that maintenance will be undertaken over a 30-year period, and it will maintain, for example, maintain the facade, repairs, etc., etc. Whereas refurbishment will be done under a shorter time period, approximately 18 months, and we will be replacing roofs, replacing the facade, etc., etc. So it's replacement rather than repair for a number of items, and it's also the fact that we will be doing those works in a shorter period of time. The next question is, why hasn't the council refurbished the property already? Well, in terms of the option that we're proposing, we have been maintaining the property, and we've been undertaking repairs and health and safety checks, and we are considering the options for refurbishment in this options consultation. So we're considering it now, but we've just been maintaining the property previously. The next question, which of these options is best in terms of environmental performance? And I'm just going to ask Darren to pick that up as for an answer. Darren?
Thank you, Kevin. Yes, we've carried out a detailed environmental assessment for each of the options, and the results of that assessment are available on our website.
Okay, thank you, Darren. Could I ask you just to stay online, Darren, for the next question? And the question is, if you do redevelop, what happens if I do not want to return? Will I be able to stay in Westminster?
Thank you, Kevin. We have a specialist housing team who will engage with all residents and in order to understand their personal situations. And we'd encourage all residents to start those discussions at an early stage, at this stage, so we can understand their housing needs.
Okay, thanks very much, Darren. There's a couple of more questions for you I can see here. So the first of those two is, why do you keep saying the car park is underused? I park there, as do my neighbours.
Thank you. I'll answer that one. Yes. So if you have the opportunity, if anyone would like to have a walk around the existing car park, you'll see that large portions of it are not utilised to the extent that the car park operator has had to mothball significant areas, shut them off from use. We have been holding discussions with Key Parks, the car park operator, and have the details of the car park usage, which enables us to determine its underuse.
Okay, thanks, Darren. And do you have evidence that there will be demand for new homes in the light of changes that COVID has brought?
As part of our assessment of all the options, we've carried out market research, not just to residential, but to the other sectors for the options.
Okay, thanks very much, Darren. The next question I'll pick up is, would residents be supported into temporary housing in the office to homes or podium schemes, given they would need to move out temporarily? Yes, it would depend on individual circumstances and the details of those schemes in terms of how long people will need to move out hasn't been finished or completed yet. So we would look to give support where we can, given our personal circumstances. So we'd look at that on an individual basis. The next question is, will the new option be carbon neutral? And I'll ask Miles to come and answer that question. So, Miles?
Thanks, Kevin. Yes, in designing the new building, we will endeavour to add sustainability items such as energy from sustainable sources to make the new option carbon neutral.
Okay, thank you very much. The next question is for Claire. Why did the council choose to deliver a hotel and casino in the new option instead of new homes?
Yes, I think this goes back to the point that Dan's making about the research that we've done, looking at the market, looking at what's viable. This is, as I said, an investment property. The income used from this is used to support frontline service delivery, and we have to make sure that we deliver value for money. So this option, which is still under consideration, it's certainly not the preferred way forward, looks at optimising the financial aspects of the scheme, as well as delivering new homes, as well as delivering refurbished offices, and as well as delivering wider amenities. So we think it's a balanced option.
Okay, thank you very much, Claire. The next question is, it says many leaseholders are elderly in the block and have limited income and savings. How would the council support in paying for these leasehold charges? Well, in terms of the situation, we do recognise that where we've given that range of £25,000 to £45,000, that is a significant cost, certainly with regard to the maintenance and the refurbishment options. Again, we would look at individual circumstances. That money is due under the lease, but we will be understanding of, if that creates individual hardship, we would need to talk to you about that and arrange a payment and a way in which you can actually cope with that. So we would be sympathetic to that, and we would work with you on a one-to-one basis to make sure that we gave you the support that we, all the support that we can. The next question is, Ms. Nangle said that Huguenot House is an income generator. This is our homes. How is this fair? So Claire, are you able to respond to that?
Yes, the council has a number of investment properties right across Westminster, which supports our activities and supports frontline services, and a number of those contain homes, as well as being shops and offices and other investment categories. So we're very used to supporting residents whilst looking at options for a variety of buildings, and the welfare and the future of residents is absolutely paramount when we consider the options that are in front of us for consideration today.
Okay, thank you very much, Claire. There's a question here for Darren, and it's what are the direct impacts on local building users?
Thank you, Kevin. The impacts will depend not only on what option is the preferred way forward, but equally which building is being referred to. So again, following the determination of preferred way forward, we will consult with the different properties that may be impacted, if any properties are impacted in any way, in order to minimise any disruption.
Yeah. Okay, thanks very much, Darren. We've come to the end of the questions. Thank you so much for submitting those. And again, if there are any answers that you feel as though you felt there was another question that you wanted to ask as a follow-up for more detail or clarification, then please do contact us. And you can see the contact information on the screen now. So general information is on the website, and you've got the address, you've got the email address there, and you've got the telephone number and the address if you just wanted to write to us. So you're more than welcome to use one or all of those contacts to get in contact with us. So thank you for attending today, and particularly to the project team for presenting. Again, if we didn't get round to answering your questions, please contact us in the ways that I've just described below. I hope you found the session informative and helpful, and I hope to speak to you soon. Thanks for taking the time to attend, and I hope you have a good afternoon. Thank you very much.